The insurance agency started out as Hill Insurance, and it was started by my grandfather in 1925. Double E, or Elbert Edison, started the insurance agency really as an outcrop of his automobile dealership. He had an automobile dealership, and thought it'd be great to be able to sell insurance to the people that they were selling cars to. And so he got into the insurance business. And then my dad, who was born in 1910, went into the Navy in 1932. There was no money to be made, so he and his brother, my uncle Lester, went into the Navy in 32, and he served until 1938, did 6 years. He came back out and actually worked a little bit with my grandfather for a short period of time. And then when the war broke out at the end of 1941, my dad went back into the Navy. Excuse me. My dad went back into the Navy in August of 42, and he was part of the plank owners crew on the USS Alabama, which is currently on display down in Mobile. And so my dad served in the Navy till 1945 when the war was over, came back, got back into the business with my grandfather. And so the two of them worked in the insurance agency until the mid-60s. And my granddad's health was failing. He retired, and my mother's brother, my uncle David Reynolds, came into the business with my dad. And then he worked until the late 70s. And my dad's health started failing. I bought the insurance agency from my dad in 77. I came to work here in 74. Of course, I graduated from La Follette High School, go Owls, and then I went to the University of Tennessee. Well, started out at East Tennessee State, and then came over to University of Tennessee, graduated there in 74. In 71, I joined the Army Reserves and stayed there until 77. But of course, the Reserves is a part-time job. So I went into the insurance business with my dad and my Uncle David in 74 after I got out of UT. Then I bought the agency from my dad in 77, and my uncle retired, and my dad sort of retired too because of failing health. And David Rutherford, who had been childhood friend and roommate in college, came to work at the agency in 77, I believe. And then he's been here ever since, with me. It's interesting. Most people think that E.E. Hill and Son is my dad and me, and it's not. It was my granddad and my dad. I guess I just never have merited having my name as part of the agency. But E.E. Hill and Son has been around, or in 2025 will been around for 100 years. And my grandfather worked in the agency for 40 years, and my dad for 30 years, and then I will have been here 50 years. So it has been a family operation from beginning until 100 years. So it's been a good run.
Good deal. Tell me about the service of the agency. I think one thing you say, good insurance for all people. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, my dad was big on slogans. And I remember him buying an advertising campaign. The agency started out on the second floor of the People's National Bank downtown. In fact, I've got some pictures that says Hill Insurance upstairs, and there was one window air conditioner, and that was my grandfather's office. He was the only one that had air conditioning at the time that I was, in school in the 50s and 60s, I guess. And I will tell you that the upstairs office, unair conditioned, got pretty warm. But then next to the bank was Kay's ice cream shop. And when they moved out, Charlie Russell, Russell Hotel Charlie, was the landlord, and Hill Insurance moved over to the ice cream shop because the bank was going to be torn down and rebuilt. And I guess that was in the 60s. And then the office where we are now was Pennington and Maccabee's architectural firm. So this building where we are now started out differently than it is now, and but we've been here since I think the late '60s. So the agency has moved around, and when we were at Kay's Ice Cream Store, my dad bought an advertising campaign. It was for posters, and they kind of reminded you of the old Burma Shave commercials that you'd see on fence poster on fences. One of them said he had the right of way, no one would dispute it, but was it worth his life just to prove it? And so then they decided that the agency needed a slogan, and it started out good insurance for every purpose. And then, we thought about it after a decade or more and said, well, not everything that people do we can insure. So we just changed it to good insurance for every person. And that stayed our motto for a long, long time. And so I guess the biggest marketing program, and they did it before I ever came into the agency, was what we called the church calendar. And Hill Insurance has been distributing church calendars to our customers for as long as I can remember. And then the what they called the jumbo calendar was usually an American flag or an eagle, some patriotic symbol. And now we go back and forth between pictures of all the presidents and a patriotic symbol. So we've been doing those two calendars for as long as I can remember.
You've been good to the community community's been good to you. It's been quite a relationship these 100 years.
That's true. I think somebody told me one time and said, it must be nice to be your own boss. You can do whatever you want to do. And I said, that's actually not correct. I said, if you'll look in the filing cabinets in there, I have about 4,000 bosses. And we're very pleased. The community has embraced our agency for 3 generations. We embrace the community. The community has been very good to us. We are very proud and very lucky to be from Campbell County.
Very good. What else would you like to tell us about the agency 100 years?
I don't know. I have to think about that one. I don't know.
When this building's expanded, I was showing Matthew yesterday, twice that I know of, maybe more.
Yeah, I think we built onto this 4 different times. The original building, I think, was 24 by 40, and then we built an addition behind it, and then we built one on the end, and then another one on the end, and then as we were doing that, enlarged the basement, because back in our business phone that had the push buttons, we had 562-211. Actually, when our agency started, I was a young fella. The telephone number for the agency was 226, and at my house, or at my mom and dad's house, it was 712. And Lady Bird Davenport was the operator, and I think her office was above Riggs Drugstore now in that general area. And you could pick up the phone, and Lady Bird would say, number please. And of course I didn't know numbers. And I'd just say, Lady Bird, this is Lansden. I want to talk to my daddy. And she'd say, well, Lansden, I just saw him cross the street. He's over at the City Cafe having lunch, and I'll ring him over there. So it was a great thing to be, to grow up in those years. Because like I said, our telephone number was 226 at the insurance agency. Every once in a while I'll find an old pencil that will have, our phone number is 226. But in the 70s, after I got out of college, came to work for my dad in the insurance business, I also had a fledgling side business or a hobby in fireworks. And so the rule was that the lady would answer the phone. If she would push, this button or this button, it was Good Morning Hill Insurance, and then she pushed the third button, it would be Good Morning Pyro Shows. So we worked jointly out of the same building. And as the fireworks business grew, it just became more problematic. And like I said, we would add an addition and then add an addition, and finally it just wasn't working. So I was fortunate to be able to buy the old Shelby's grocery store building for the fireworks office, and it's made the seating arrangement here for the insurance employees and customers much better. But yeah, it's been a story of growth and success, and like I said a second ago, it's been a privilege to sell insurance, provide insurance protection to the people of Campbell County for 100 years. It's been a really good ride.
What time do we have?
11:41.
Okay, you've got a couple more minutes.
Okay.
What was your motivation to get into the insurance business with your dad and your uncle, and to grow it, continue it like you have these last 50 years?
That's interesting. When I was in college and talking to my buddies, I said, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life, but I know two things I'm absolutely not going to do. I am never going to go back to La Follette, and I am not going to be in the insurance business. And, every business has its periods of stress, and I'd seen my dad have a lot of stressful evenings over something, with the insurance business. And I was too young to realize everything has stress. And so at the time I graduated from University of Tennessee in '74, an entry-level bachelor's degree pay was about $1,000 a month. And everywhere I wanted to go, whether it was Nashville or Lexington or Charlotte, Atlanta, wherever, it was going to cost several $100s per month more to live than I was going to get paid. And the math just wasn't working. And so my dad said, if you don't find something you like better, you can work at the insurance agency for $600 a month. And so after I started doing the math, they were going to rent me the house where I still live, actually, for $85 a month. And again, after I did the math, that was the only option that I had that was I could actually afford to live. And so I came to work for my dad for $600 a month in '74, and I will have to say that at $600 per month, I was grossly overpaid. I was not a stellar employee. I had forgotten, I guess, during the time I was away in school, how much I'd enjoyed La Follette. I grew up here. I had my Jeep. We had the most beautiful lake in America. My friends were here, and I was living large. But my job at the insurance agency was not my highest priority. And why he tolerated me, I do not know, but he did. I finally started getting traction after about 3 years. And it turned out well because my dad's health was starting to fail. But I was given, 3 years probation, and it turned out okay. So I can't complain the way it's turned out, but the way it started was not the way I had planned.
Very good. Anything else you'd like to tell us about Hill Insurance, staff?
Well, I think the strength of any business is the employees, the customer service. And, we've been blessed, our agency's been blessed to be in a community that has embraced our agency. And we have had some of the most amazing employees. During my lifetime, Elsie Kibler was here for years and years when I first kind of realized what was going on. Rissa Ward worked here for a long time, Lola Heatherly, and then more recently, and I say more recently, in the '80s, Kathy Owens has been just amazing. She would tell me what to do, and I would say yes, ma'am, and it seemed to work out really well. But David Rutherford has been with me since the late '70s and has been just a champion. So again, you hear frequently about the driving force or the employees, but that's true. And this agency would not have succeeded without the quality people that we've had here.